हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स। इंग्लिश लिटरेचर की स्टडी के लिए आपके फेवरेट चैनल लिट ई सिटी पर मैं सौरभ अग्रवाल सम मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड इंटरेस्टिंग इन्फॉर्मेशन लेकर इस नए लेसन में आप लोगों के सामने फिर से एक बार हाजिर हूँ। फ्रेंड्स, एट प्रेजेंट वी आर कंडक्टिंग अ सीरीज ऑन मेजर यूरोपियन राइटर्स एंड in this section, in this series, we are talking about some great writers belonging to European countries who have contributed especially to the 20th century, whether it is drama, novel, theory and other other fields related with literature. In our last lesson, we started discussion on one of the greatest playwright of the 20th century and especially post-war era, that is Bertolt Brecht, and we have discussed about his epic theater, how he revolutionized the concept of theater. देखिए जो epic theater है, once again in layman terms अगर हम बात करें, it is a complete reversal of Aristotelian theory of इमिटेशन, जहाँ पर जो ट्रेडिशनल एरिस्टोटेलियन थियरी है वो मानकर चलती है कि थिएटर इज लाइक अ प्लेस वेयर द स्पेक्टेटर फील्स अटैच्ड टूवर्ड्स द परफॉर्मेंस ऑन द स्टेज। वहाँ पर जो स्पेक्टेटर है उससे एक्सपेक्ट किया जाता है दैट ही बिलीव्स व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग ऑन द स्टेज इज़ अ स्लाइस ऑफ लाइफ। ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी, ब्रेख्ट का जो एपिक थिएटर है, ब्रेख्ट ने जो टेक्निक एलिनेशन इफेक्ट के बारे में बात करते हैं, उसके अंदर ही कैटेगरिकली सेज दैट ऑडियंस मस्ट बी, स्पेक्टेटर्स मस्ट बी लाइक ऑब्जर्वर्स, दे मस्ट स्टूड अपार्ट फ्रॉम द सीन, और वो एक ऑब्जर्वर की तरह इसे ऑब्जर्व करें व्हाट इज विटनेसिंग। To achieve this particular alienation effect, to make this theater of absurd, जो ब्रेक्ट ने वो ये बात करते हैं कि तरह तरह की टेक्निक्स वो यूज़ करते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल वो एक्टर्स को बाकायदा डायरेक्ट करते हुए मैसेज देते हैं कि एक्टर शुड मेक द ऑडियंस रियलाइज दैट दे आर जस्ट एक्टिंग, दे आर जस्ट एक्टर्स एंड द सीन इज द आर्टिफिशियल क्रिएशन ऑफ रियलिटी. So we have discussed about some early plays by Brecht and especially his very popular play like Three Pennies Opera, Mother Courage and Her Children. And in this lesson, ये छोटा सा एक discussion मैंने epic theater पे फिर से करा है. We will discuss two major plays by Brecht. I would request all those aspirants for NET, please focus on these major writers. चाहे आप इस चैनल से, चाहे आप और किसी चैनल से, किसी book से, please read the basic summaries of these plays, remember the characters, remember their sequence, chronological order, because all these things will help you in your upcoming exams. In this particular play, in this particular lesson, we are going to discuss about the good women of Szechwan and the Caucasian chalk circle. Okay, let's move forward and we start our today's discussion with the first play, that is The Good Person of Szechwan, which is also known as The Good Woman of Szechwan. It was written between 1939 and 1941 and we can see that it was a very crucial time. देखिए ब्रेक्ट के जितने भी प्लेज हैं वो अपेरेंटली एक फोक टेल फॉर्मेट में चलते हैं. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज एपिक. दे आर बेसिकली नैरेटेड लाइक अ स्टोरी. Okay, but there is always some hidden meaning, some sort of satirical take underneath this simple folk tale telling. For example, this play itself, the play opens with Wang. Now Wang, he is a water carrier and he explains to the audience that he is on the city outskirts and he is awaiting the foretold appearance of several important gods. Now there is a meeting is scheduled, वहाँ पर सारे gods जो हैं वो आने वाले हैं. The gods arrive and they ask Wang that they need some shelter for the night. They are tired. Now we come to know about the mission. They are traveling far and wide because they are in search of good people, good honest people But very disappointingly, they find that there is only greed, evil, dishonesty, and selfishness everywhere. They are not able to find one single good soul in whose search they have descended from heaven. The same turns out to be true in Szechwan. This is the name of the city where they are at. These gods are at present. No one is ready to take them in. Everyone is either looking for profit or is suspicious. There is only one poor Shan, this girl, this woman Shan. She is ready to accept them as their guests for the night, and because nobody else has time or means to care for others, only Shan offers them her house. Now, because Shante offers them this hospitality, she is rewarded. She is rewarded with money. The gods give her money, and for this money she buys a tobacco shop, and this tobacco shop is both a gift and a test. Now this is important to understand. It is just not a gift, it is like a test for humanity itself. They want to check, well, Shante, when she is poor, when she doesn't have any resources, she is a good soul. But if she has resources, will she be able to maintain her goodness with these newfound means? This is their main concern. At first, Shante seems to live up to the god's expectations. Her generosity, because she is full of what we say milk of humanness, milk of kindness, but because of this generosity, the small shop becomes a massive poorhouse. Everybody wants to exploit this goodness of Shante. Obviously, it results in crime and police supervision, and Shante is forced to introduce a fictional and invented cousin, Suita, as overseer and protector of her interest. There is no actual cousin, Suita. This is just this Shante herself disguising as this male cousin. Shenta dons a costume of male clothing. She wears a mask and she changes her voice to take on the role of Suita. Suita arrives at the shop, and now she is he. Obviously, we should use this particular method, this particular technique of converting a female character into a male character is very old. We have witnessed in very popular plays by Shakespeare like As You Like It. Similarly here, Shenta dons the role of the cousin with the name Suita, and when he arrives at the shop, he is very pragmatic. His approach is very worldly. He explains that his cousin has gone out of town on a short trip, so he will take charge of the things from then, and curtly turns out the hangers-on who don't have any business there, they are not allowed to stay there, and quickly the shop regains an order. बहुत अच्छी तरह से वापस things are now in order. Okay, then what happens that only Suita is made to survive in this world. A person with we can say this stern or strict disciplinarian attitude, who has no feeling for others, who is a very businesslike in his approach, only such person can survive in this world. In no time at all, this humble shop is turned into a full scale kind of tobacco factory, and there are now many employees. One of the employees one day hear Shante crying, but when he enters, Shante is obviously not there, and instead of her, he finds Suita is present there. The employee demands to know what he has done with where Shanta is. He is obviously very suspicious, but obviously Suita is not able to prove where she is, and he is arrested and taken to court. The townspeople also discover a bundle of Shantae's clothing under Suita's desk, which make them even more suspicious. They now have this doubt, this kind of feeling that Suita has murdered his cousin and taken over the shop. During the process of a trial, the guards appear in the robes of the judges. Here is a completing of the circle. It is all basically created by gods themselves. So now they are in the role of judge. Suita now says that he will make a confession only if the room is cleared and only judges or guards remain there, and when town peoples are gone, Shanta reveals herself to the guards. Now guards are in a sort of dilemma. They are in the hands of dilemma. Their arbitrary divine behavior has caused the humanity to forsake its innate goodness. Now actually Brecht wants to create this this sense that whatever we are in the hands of our unseen destiny. Who is responsible for our evil deeds? Our own intentions, unforeseen circumstances, or forces which is beyond our control. The narrator throws the responsibility of finding a solution to the place problem onto the shoulders of the audience. It is for the spectator to figure out how a good person can possibly come to a good end in this world, which is basically evil in its nature, which is not good. So it's a kind of cauldron in which Brecht throws whole humanity, and he wants to question the issue of morality. Okay, after this play, we shall move to our next play, which is once again based on a popular folk tale, and we are talking about, friends, the Caucasian Chalk Circle. Okay, it is a play which consists of a prologue and 5 scenes. It was first produced in 1948, and it is based on German writers Klabon's play Der Krieg des Kreis. This play, Der Krieg des Kreis, is itself a translation and adaptation of a Chinese play dated far, far back during Yuan dynasty. Now, prologue. The play begins with a prologue, and this prologue is about a dispute over a valley. There are two groups of peasants. They each claim a valley, and that was abandoned during the World War II, during the German invasion. Now, one group used to live here before this World War, before it was abandoned, and herded goats there. Other group is a neighboring valley, and he hopes to plant fruit trees. So both have different plans regarding the utilization of this land, and a delegate from the king has come to arbitrate the dispute. Okay, moving forward, we come to know that the fruit growers explain that they have elaborate plans to irrigate the valley and produce a tremendous amount of food. The goat herders claims the land based because they are living here for a very long time. So in the end, the fruit farmers get the valley because they will use the land better, because they have more we can say materialistic gain in on their hand. The peasant then hold a small party where a singer tells the story of the chalk circle. Now this story, the chalk circle, is very popular in all kind of folk tales where two women claim a child, and then it is decided whose child is actually. The Caucasian chalk circle is actually two stories that come together at the end. So there are two stories and they have one common end. First story is that of Grusha. The protagonist, name of the protagonist is Grusha, and the second story concerned that with Azdak. And both story begins in a Caucasian city, which is ruled by a governor who is there as a deputy of a grand duke. Now, governor has just a child, Michael. The son is born. His wife Natella is incredibly jealous of the attention that he gives to his son. So there is kind of a tense atmosphere even at the beginning of this story. After this, the governor's brother, who is the fat prince, he basically stages a rebellion on Easter Sunday. Sorry. Fat Prince, he stages a rebellion on Easter Sunday and he kills the governor. And his wife Natella, she basically flees from there. She abandons or leaves behind her child. The Grand Duke and many of the soldiers, they also flee from there. They all want to save their lives, so they all flee from there. Grusha, who is a kitchen maid, she becomes engaged to a soldier named Simon, and during this coup, Michael is handed to her. Michael, who is son of the governor, who is a very infant, and Grusha somehow comes to rescue her. She hides the child from the fat prince and thus saving his life. Then she takes Michael with her and went to her brother's house, who lives outside the city. The brother allows her to live there for the winter. During the spring season, Grusha's brother, now he forces her to marry a dying man, supposedly who is dying, and he lives across the mountain. Now, when the wedding ceremony is going on, guests learn. They come to this news that war is finally over and Grand Duke has returned. Grand Duke, who has basically fled away, now he has returned with his own forces. The dying man, who is basically a cheat, and when he sees that his marriage is going to ruin, and he miraculously recovers, and he throws all the guests out of the house and marries Grusha by force, and Grusha becomes a good wife to him. One day, Simon returns there and learns that she is now married to Joseph. And when he sees Simon, he thinks that this is child from this marriage and Grusha's child from this marriage. But some soldiers arrive and take Michael away from her because they claim that Michael belongs to the governor's wife. Actually, Michael is son of governor's wife. Grusha goes back to the city because she has brought up this child, and obviously she has a deep affection for this child. Now we start second thread of this story, that is a story of Azdak. The plot once again goes back to the night of Fat Prince insurrection. Azdak finds a fugitive and he saves man's life. And obviously the man is Grand Duke. When Azdak reveals to the townspeople that he has saved the Grand Duke's life, nobody is ready to believe him. Soldiers discredit him. Fat Prince comes and he has brought his nephew because he wants to make his nephew the new judge, but the soldiers consider Azdak to be a more proper choice and he is appointed as the new judge. Then there are 4 very strange cases, and in all these cases Azdak rules in favor of the poor person, and thus he earns the reputation of being a staunch supporter of the poor. This reputation grows and he becomes quite famous. When the Grand Duke returns after 2 years, Azdak is now arrested because he was an official in the regime of Fat Prince, and he is obviously arrested and is about to be killed by the soldiers. However, what happens is that the Grand Duke remembers that Azdak is the very person who saved his life. He reappoints Azdak to be the judge, and thus his life is saved. Azdak now take over the case of Grusha and the child. The governor's wife want Michael back because Michael is the key with which she can take back her estates, without which it is not possible. Grusha wants to keep child because she has raised this and she has obviously affection for him. Azdak then orders a chalk circle to be drawn, places the child in the middle of it, and orders the two women to pull. Okay, and it's a quite old kind of folktale element. Governor's wife pull, Grusha lets go, and obviously Azdak comes to realize that Grusha actually loves the child, while governor's wife only wants the child for her material benefit. So Azdak gives Michael back to Grusha, orders governor's wife to live. His last act is to divorce Grusha, and that's so that she can marry Simon. And during the dancing celebration, Azdak disappears forever. So once again, Brecht very cleverly shows the inherent complexities, perplexities, and different kind of dilemmas a human being finds himself or herself in his life or her life. Okay friends, let's quickly talk about some other plays which are not so important, but which are important from NET point of view. First, we will talk about Harpuntila and his man Mati. It is a kind of Volksstück or a popular play. Popular play Brecht बोलते थे ऐसे plays को जिसके अंदर comic एलिमेंट्स डाले हुए होते थे जो पब्लिक को अपील करे. So in this play there is a Finnish hard drinking landowner Puntila, and he suffers from a split personality. How? Pardon. When drunk, he is friendly and humane. He is mixing with everybody, joking jovially. But when he sobers up, he becomes totally intolerable. He becomes ruthless, surly, and self-centered. So he oscillates between these two poles, and because of this split personality, he plays havoc. He creates trouble with his workers, his women, his daughter's marriage, and Matty, who is his sardonic, who is very we can say pessimistic kind of valet. Another important work by Brecht in this series is The Resistible Rise of Arturo Ui, 1957. It is a parable play. A parable play is basically in which characters are basically representation of some other person. Here Arturo Ui is basically presentation of Hitler's rise as a dictator. It is set in pre-war Chicago. It is a satire in which Hitler's rise is transposed into a small-time gangster's takeover of Chicago's green grocery trade. This Arthur Ui, he owns a shop, a green grocery shop, and how he becomes a dictator in the market. Almost on the similar line, we have this play, St. John of the Stockyards, 1959. We know the story of St. John. G.B. Shaw also very beautifully presented story of St. John. Here, St. John is a Salvation Army lieutenant who challenges the power of Pierpont Moller. Pierpont Moller is the meat king, and the play is full of pastiche and parody, and it also has resonance from the economic crisis of 1929 to 1932. These are some of other plays by Brecht. So friends, these are two lessons on Bertolt Brecht, and our series on European writers. I hope you are liking these lessons. I want to contribute more to the arena of English literature, and I would appreciate if you suggest which are the topics on which you would like me to make more videos. I always love your comments and your suggestion and try to work on them to make these lessons worthy of you. Thank you, my friends. We will see you together.